Hey, Jeff Howard here at Kiteboarding.com and Wingboarding.com. We've seen so many questions out there on social media and everywhere else about harnessing. It's becoming very popular, and I will tell you, it's something that I highly love. I get into it, so I want to go out and ride for long periods of time without a harness. It becomes a pain. And yes, if you want to build muscles, great, don't do it. If it's something you don't like, it keeps it out of the way. I can do anything and everything that I like to do. Now, what I have here is the harness line and why we have this harness line. This is our bungee harness line. It's a larger size Spectra, and it's got bungee inside, and I'll explain about the bungee and why. But I want to talk, it's got a loop on one end, it's got a knot on the other, and you can see this area here that you have no bungee in. It also, you can get it with a pigtail. So there's different ways to attach these onto the wing. We've been testing a lot of wings here. We ride with a bunch of wings just so we know and get this knowledge for you. So here's a wing, this is the reed end, and the reed end does not come with any attachment points for a harness line. So we have to attach it onto the handle. So attaching it onto the handle, the most important thing is make sure that you lark's head it back onto itself so it stays positioned. We have it positioned on the handle in this location because we found where the balance point, which I'll talk again in just a bit. But you can see, so you start with a lark's head like this, put it back through itself, and when it locks down, it doesn't move on this handle. This one's been on here for a long time. At the other end, it also has a pigtail down here, and it's also lark's headed back to itself, so it doesn't slide. Then you connect the line into it. I'm going to show you how that's done. So if you have a loop that comes up on any wing or whatever, you'll take it through, lower side, and then back through itself. So this just tensions up against itself, and that's how you can quickly make any adjustment if you're on the water and you want to adjust the length of this line. That's how you do it. Now, the reason that we use the Spectra is because it slides in your harness bar real smooth. If you put plastic, it's going to be jarring because you do move it a lot. And it's in a very small positioning point. So if you do plastic, it wears that plastic out in that spot. It makes it very difficult to change that. These just slide easily through the stainless steel, plastic hooks, or whatever you have. So here's another position. This is the north, and the north has the harness line connection loops. You can see the little gray loop come out of there. It's got a knot on it too because they have it lark's headed onto there. But you take this loop, simply put it through the other loop, back through itself, connect it. Then you don't need the pigtail because it already has a loop down here, and you connect it just like this. So you can still adjust that. Most of the wings that we have tried with this harness, with the harness connection points already, they have found a nice balance point to that. So there's no real adjusting it. You can do a little bit. I've seen somebody move it up just a little bit, but really they work. They've tested it, they've tried it out, and it works really well. Now, this is a boom one. This is the Value wing. It can work on a duotone wing if you've got booms. On the boom side, you've got to get the boom attachments. These are Velcro. They Velcro onto the booms. Then they have a loop. And then you connect the loop to loop here. And then you do not need a pigtail because, again, you connect it to the loop and the Velcro, it's on the back side of that. So that's how you want to connect up the different styles of these harness lines on different wings. Now, I want to talk to you about the adjustment of this. So I get the adjustment point. You want to find a balance point where when you're riding and you're hooked into the harness, that you don't have either a lot of backhand pressure holding the wing into the powered position or pushing away, or vice versa. You want to have a nice, natural, relaxed, where you have a little bit of pressure, but the wing sits in there, sits in your harness nice and smooth, and you're not pushing or pulling hard. If you're having to pull down on the backside, slide that hook position forward. So now that your balance point, you find the balance of lift on that particular wing. Every one of them have been different. I have tried it, I'd go out, I'd test, I'd come back in and have to adjust that. So you want to make sure you do that. Now, the other benefit of having this larger Spectra, not tiny Spectra, is the weight. So when you're riding along and you want to hook in, you can swing it. It has some mass to it. So if you're in a lot of wind, if they're too tiny, the wind will blow it away and you can't get hooked in. That's one of the issues that I have found and why we use the larger Spectra with the bungee. Now, I want to show you another little tip that'll help you out. All the leashes that come with these wings, a lot of them are pretty standard in length, and it's very frustrating because they're too long, in my opinion. So what I've done here in the Value is I tied a knot up here, and you can see that little knot tied into the leash. So what happens is when I put this on, I want my back hand that's going to be pulling, wherever I find where I ride, I want this hook point. I'm going to get this up here. So I want this hook point, so where my hand is, it keeps the leash out of my way and keeps tension. I can still grab to the back of my wing, no problem at all. Of course, when I switch, then the leash is in the front, so it's out of my way when I want to hook in. You'll see that again. When I'm back here and I want to hook in, it stays out of my way. If I do hook both of them, it's still not a problem. I reach down quickly and just pull that out. But keeping that tension and finding that right length on your leash will make it so much easier to use a harness line. So you will see that it's very easy to set up. It's awesome to ride with. I will tell you, it stays out of your way. There's so many new designs that are coming in harnesses. These you can spin out, lay on your board, spin it back around. This is the Ozone. I've used the Ozone, the Slingshot. I've used simple straps and prototypes that people have made, and they work really well because there's almost no load on it. It's very, very low load. So people will ask that as well. But hooking in, finding that right position, making sure that your line has the weight and the mass to it, as well as the bungee. Why the bungee? The bungee is the reason is when you're out there riding and you get different pulls and you're changing angles, you don't want that stiff. You want a little bit of action to allow you to make adjustments to that wing without having to come unhooked every time or rehook back in. If I really want to come unhooked, then I'll come in far enough and it'll drop out. And again, that's the mass. It's a little bit heavier, so it wants to hang down. If it's a tiny line, it can be very frustrating. So again, you hook in, you find that balance point, you can make adjustments and it doesn't come unhooked, and you can simply come unhooked. Anyway, I wanted to help out because we've had so many questions of people how to harness, how to connect that harness line onto my wing. I don't have the connection points, I have a boom, whatever it may be. This will get you set up. It's very easy, and I will tell you, it will make your riding, you could go for hours and hours and hours. It's almost endless to be able to get out there and using a harness. It is becoming very popular and definitely something that I recommend somebody to give it a try. Anyway, that's Jeff Howard here at Kiteboarding.com and Wingboarding.com to get you the information so you can stay on the water a lot longer.